Hey everyone, Doug Adams here from the Run DNA podcast. Excited to make an announcement today about something new that we're doing that people have been asking for a long time. And we're just going to put it out there and do a lot more of this. We're going to do a gait analysis case series. We did that survey that we've talked about a couple times on here where people were really looking for a couple different things from Run DNA, and one of that was really around gait analysis and gait retraining. So we want to give more reps. And the way we're looking at this case series is almost like a football team reviewing film with the coach. We want to go back and look at real life examples because this is a different type of learning, different from that more structured course format where you're really trying to acquire knowledge. This looks at applying knowledge in real life and in real time. So we're doing these pretty unscripted, but just going over what the gait analysis is, giving a little bit of background, talking about what type of cues we use, talking about how those cues worked or didn't work. Like, we're going to be very upfront with us. If we have something that didn't work, we're going to talk about it and talk about why, with the hopes of helping everyone get more knowledge and experience so that they can use gait analysis with all of their patients, not just runners, but we're going to do walking ones as well. So it's going to be a great opportunity to really improve your skills. And we've talked about being great at gait on the podcast this kind of season already. And we talked about, you need to have biomechanics understanding. You need to be able to assess movement capabilities. You need to know how to select the right gait training. And then you need to bring it all together with quality coaching skills. We talked about that, but there's one element on there that is crucial and not already discussed, is that you need reps. You need to be able to get as much practice you can with gait. And it's not always just doing the gait analysis yourself, but seeing more gait analysis done. And that's the whole point of this case series, is just giving people a chance to get some reps here. Because the second thing that people were looking for in that survey we did was that they're looking for ways to get more runners in the door. And if you're looking for ways to do that, one of the best ways is to provide some examples and to talk about testimonials and how things have helped people. And we want you to be able to use these stories for yourself. Be able to say, hey, there was a gait analysis done on somebody, and this is what the outcome was, and this made a big difference. It doesn't have to be your own story. You're conveying to them why gait analysis is important. So we want to give you some experience and give you some more talking points, so that as you're working with your own clients, you'll have some more testimonials and things that you can use for that. Our Helix customers, if you're using our 3D technology, you can submit a case study if you'd like to review it and maybe even do a little Q&A with it. We do have a form. There should be a newsletter that was recently sent out with a submission form. But if you're looking for that, just email us at support@rundna.com, and we'll make sure you have that, because we know we got quite a few listeners that are some of our Helix users with that. So you can submit that way. And a lot of this is going to be visual. So there is a lot that you can still benefit from listening to it. But if you want to head over to our YouTube channel and look for Run DNA on YouTube, you'll be able to get the visuals that go along with this as well. So make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or sign up for our newsletter on rundna.com. We're also, in addition to this, these are going to be 5 to 10 minutes. These are meant to be quick, just something you can review at lunchtime as you're taking a little break or getting some of your documentation done, just to have something to get a little reps. But once a quarter, we're also going to do a larger one where we're showing the full gait analysis of, hey, going through the whole process and showing you kind of real time. And that's also going to be reviewing. We're going to pre-film those, and then we're going to be able to go through them and replay them and kind of talk about, hey, here's why we did this, and ask questions and answer questions. So those are coming quarterly. So that'll be announced on the newsletter pretty soon, if not already by the time that this podcast episode comes out. So that's kind of introducing them. And now for the rest of the episode, we're going to play the first one that we did. And if you'll continue listening and still can get value out of listening to this, but viewing it on YouTube is helpful, or maybe listen to it first and go back and look at the videos there. But we're going to talk about a gait analysis that we did with an ACL patient. And this was a really cool one because it was somebody that came up and we hadn't done the runner readiness. We hadn't done a lot. And we didn't have a lot of background because this is somebody that we just met at a conference. And they didn't even tell us actually first when they started running that they were post-op ACL. But we got them off the treadmill and we started looking at it and be like, what's your injury history? What do you have going on here? Because we were able to really identify exactly what was going on and see how that made a difference. And it talks about how crucial gait analysis is to developing a plan of care. It is a crucial piece that when you're looking at what exercises should be done, what manual therapy should be done, what kind of education needs to be done, all of that can really be tied into and personalized by doing a gait analysis and having some objective data around it. So it's a great example of that. And there's some really cool visuals. You're going to get a sneak peek at the Run DNA scoring method and the primary and secondary factors. If you're not familiar with that, that's a sneak peek of that as well. So I hope you enjoy this case series and get a chance to see what it's like. We got lots more of these coming. We've already got a few of these recorded, and we're going to just start rolling them out. It's going to be running. It's going to be walking. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you have other thoughts about what you'd like to hear, please go ahead and put those in the comments or send us an email, support@rundna.com. Love to hear from you, what you're looking for with this. And then enjoy the rest of the episode listening about the actual case study. All right, in this video, I want to do 3 quick things in this Gait case study here. I'm going to talk to you about a great example of how to use gait analysis post-surgically. I'm going to show you and talk about one of the most common questions we get, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about how the scoring system can make a huge difference for you. So let's take a look at this file first. This is somebody that is 1 year post-op ACL that we actually met at a conference and did a gait analysis for and put them on here. And it was a great example to really show how post-op can help. So this person's 1 year out. And I want you to look at the files. If you just look at it visually, you might not see a ton. Maybe you can, maybe you can't pick up with your eyes kind of what's going on. But overall, just looking at it, you might not notice a lot. But when you dive into it a little bit more, you're going to get a lot more information here. So I want to show you one of the charts, and this is how we use this a ton with ACL patients here. If you look at this graph that we're showing, I'll make it a little bigger on the screen so that you can see it here. But basically, when we look at this graph, the 0 line, anything above it is knee flexion, anything below it is knee extension. So I'm going to highlight the right, which is blue here. The smaller peak that we see here is the peak knee flexion when you're during stance phase. And the second peak that's larger is the amount of knee flexion during swing phase. So now let's take a look at the left here. You will see a dramatic difference between left and right. And I probably don't even have to tell you at this point which is the involved side when you look at that significant amount of knee flexion asymmetry that we're seeing during stance phase here, where what we're noticing, if we go to the numbers, on average, it's looking about 39 degrees of knee flexion on the right. On the left is 18, 19, sometimes even lower, as low as 12 there with it. So that is a really good example of how we can utilize this and identify for somebody that's a year out from ACL and they want to get back into running. We have to say, hey, let's really think about this. Let's really look at that. So that is probably one of the most common questions we get about running gait analysis and gait retraining is, when can I start gait retraining, and should I do gait retraining with everyone right away? So this is a person a year out, and I had this person do a lateral step down just to show me what their control looked like, and it was all over the place. So this is a really good example of when I would say that somebody doesn't really have the mobility, motor control in this situation that is really necessary to do what I'm asking them to do. If they can't do a simple lateral step down test, which is part of the loading levels from our certified running gait analyst course, we're not going to put them and start having them do a lot of running. I didn't have any of her data about what her range of motion was like, what her quad index looked like. I didn't have any of that because this was just a real quick screen that we did at a conference. But this was somebody that I didn't try a gait retraining Q with because I didn't think that she would be able to do this really, knowing how much they had a limited amount of control over the knee flexion here. Now, if you watch the video again, you can kind of pick up and see some of the differences here on the left versus right, where you're watching as she lands here on the left, how the knee just kind of stays stiff the whole time and doesn't go through a lot of knee flexion. And then if we go to the other side here and watch the right, this is how I would kind of educate the patient to show them here what's going on. Now we see that that knee continues to flex as they go through stance, and there's a big difference of right versus left. Now, this is where the RunDNA scoring system really helps. We can see that this score is pretty high, where lower is better, and this person was almost a 22. Now, we see the category here, but it shows exactly what was going on with it, that the primary factor was peak knee flexion asymmetry. That primary and secondary factor make a huge impact on knowing what to focus on and target on here. So it said the first one was the knee flexion, the second was ground contact time asymmetry. That's going to give us a big difference where the left was 203 centimeters and the right was 236 milliseconds, not centimeters, for how long they were on the ground. But we see the average peak knee flexion was 17 on the left and 41 on the right. So if you're wanting to do a quick screen and you really want to get to the information to know what you should target, this primary and secondary factor are a huge time saver and help you by analyzing all the data and seeing what's contributing to why that score is higher. So just a clip I really wanted to share with people because it's a great example of 3 different things. Using this with post-op is critical. I would have used this with this person walking very early on, and then I would have done the running analysis as we go. We talked a little bit about how not all the time you should start gait retraining right away. And there are situations where you might need to address a mobility or motor control issue first. And then we talked a little bit about how the scoring can really be helpful to help them identify how ready they are for going full steam with it, but also the factors that we should really be focusing on. So love to hear your comments or thoughts, but this is definitely something that I thought worth sharing. So thanks for checking it out.
Like what you hear? Leave a review of the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. RunDNA helps runners and running specialists through education and technology to identify each runner's unique injury profile to avoid setbacks and maximize results. The RunDNA podcast is produced by Ace Running LLC. The RunDNA podcast is intended for educational purposes only. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can occur. Always seek the guidance of qualified medical professionals before making healthcare decisions. Find us online at rundna.com.